Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's the Mac. Welcome back. It's been a while, but I'm back. And we're going to be looking at Napoleonic battles, man. Campaign Marengo. I'm going to continue my... I started it quite a while ago. I'm just going to go through the whole Napoleonic series that's on Wargame Design Studio. Try to work through the titles in chronological order. We started with the Republican bayonets on the Rhine, and we did an extensive coverage of that some while ago. And I was going to, pick up, do the other titles, but it's been a while now since I was committed to that due to, everything, life, work, other stuff. But I'm back, and I'm going to continue covering these great titles from one of the more popular series in the Wargame Design Studio catalog, the Napoleonic Wars, the Napoleonic battles. So, obviously, if you work in a chronological order, this would be your next go after Republican Bayonets on the Rhine. It would be Campaign Marengo. Because this one picks up right after where the previous title ends, and this title is actually the first one in the series that picks up Napoleon Bonaparte's, the famous general rising from the ranks to become the almighty leader of France and conqueror of the world, so to speak. Yeah, so it's been a while. I noticed when I covered the previous the game was actually in a different version back then. Things have happened. A lot have happened on Wargame Design Studios production since then. So now actually the series is in a whole new version. So we're going to have a look at that right off the bat. So this article was published back in May. So the whole series has been moved up to 4.08.1. When I covered the Republican Bayonets, I think it was 407, so a lot have happened to the series since then. All the games now have the 15-minute version of the scenarios in both standalone and campaign formats. For games that previously had 10-minute versions, they have been retained. So, to be honest, I don't really know what the whole thing is about the different time formats. This is a debate I probably missed. I don't really know why they have like a difference in 5 minutes, different versions, and why it's such a big issue. But if anybody knows that's watching this and knows, please type in the comments. I'll try to look it up. I'll try to find out why they made such a big deal out of this, the 10-minute or the 15-minute. But I couldn't find anything. So please, if you know, write it down. Yeah, so they've done a huge amount of upgrades since then, and they recommend you for clean install. Now this is some while ago, so but I just wanted to show you the article. This is probably better to have a look at. This is the deed that comes with the game, the change log. So they've done even further refinements to AI routines, which means the AI might be pretty badass now. I'm not sure. I thought it was pretty good in the 407. I mean, I was, having a pretty a tough time, I think, in that scenario I played back then. I mean, I noticed the AI was doing, smarter things, and apparently it's supposed to be even better now. So it added infrastructure for AI enhancements, so that's good. For further development, I guess. They've got support for Windows 11. They reduced some points, so it's all here. Maybe you guys can pause it and read it, make it larger. But they've done a bunch of stuff, and they've also fixed an AI routine preventing units from deploying properly. So that's good as well. And this is pretty important here. The updated documentation, updated standardization PDT files, and they added this intro series. We're gonna have a look at that. Updated 2D and 3D graphic files as well. So the graphics are changed as well. So. Yeah, a lot of things have happened since 407. They even included it here as well. So it's all in that file. So let's have a look at the notes. Then the almighty notes are not really almighty, but they are, it tells you basically how the research of the game came about, and the planning and stuff here. It's all here. It's always included in every VDS title. The amount of work that's gone into it, the research and stuff. It's a good read. I mean, it's kind of small, but it's all here. What's important in this document is that they also include the campaigns that comes with the game. It's actually I think there's like 4 campaigns in this game. Sorry, 6. There's 6 campaigns in Campaign Marengo. They cover the 3 major campaigns that were fought between 1796 and 1800. So basically, 1800 is where the this Marengo title ends, because the Battle of Marengo was in 1800 exactly. That's when the Napoleon sort of sealed the victory in the northern Italian campaign there. So it says 3 of the campaigns covered the individual operations in 1796 to relieve the Mantua garrison and defeat the French army commanded by Bonaparte. So they have the quadrilateral operations of 1796 and 1797, quad ops. This campaign series is linked operations in the famed quadrillion region of northern Italy. These were 4 operations by the Austrians to relieve or resupply the Mantua garrison. So they have a breakdown of it. Wurmser was the name of that guy who was in charge of the Austrian army. We have Bonaparte. So he was commissioned to take care of that northern Italy. I mean, the Italian army. It was pretty it was undermanned, and it was pretty ragtag army that he took command of. But he did amazing things with that army. Nobody had thought that army was going to be able to do anything except maybe just be a defensive army. But he actually took the army of northern Italy on the offense and defeated a lot more powerful foes, basically the Austrians, and then later the Russians came in as well and paid a part, and ultimately he crushed the Austrians there, and sort of the Battle of Marengo there. I got to tell you right off the bat, my history is not the best here. I've done some research and reading and stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of the stuff to take in these titles. There's so many things that happened, so many particular battles, and so many names and things. So I mean, you got to basically be, really into the Napoleonic Wars to know your history. I'm not. I mean, I'm starting to learn, but I'm nowhere near an expert. And then they have the Castiglione operation, 3 branches with snares based on the historical actions of Bonaparte to defeat the 2 wings of the Austrian army. And they have the Accord operation, 3 branches concerning the actions for the Austrian commanders to merge their forces and defeat Bonaparte. Yeah, so that was in the initial stages of the war there. The Rivoli operation, the campaign composed 1 branch covering operation in the Austrian army to defeat the French army at Rivoli, relieve the garrison of Mantua, and both players can choose between one of the 3 deployment options. So they have Suvarov's campaign. This is must be the Russian commander. Field Marshal Suvarov's Great Northern Italian campaign split up into a series of phases from the initial Allied advance of the Adda River and the actions of the French generals to defeat the Allies in northern Italy. Due to the long time period between phases, no losses are carried over. Okay, so that could be an interesting campaign, actually. And then they have this is the most famous one, the Marengo campaign, when so Bonaparte, he raised Army of the Reserve, he raised a whole new army of veterans, and he scoured the land of France to get a big army, and he marched over the Alps. His famous march that he took this whole army across the Alps and it basically attacked the Austrians in the back, and because the French were actually losing, and they were under siege, and so Napoleon did this bold move and went in the back door basically over the Alps. Caused mayhem and havoc, and in that way he sort of defeated the Austrians. But the French were actually on the losing streak there as well. That's all in the notes. There's some other good stuff to take in. Yeah, so this is the main page of Campaign Marengo on the Wargame Design Studio page. It tells you basically the story, the overall, like a lightning bolt falling from heavens. Napoleon Bonaparte's army of the reserve descended out of the Alps upon the plains of Piedmont in the late May of 1800 and into the annals of glory. What followed was a blitzkrieg campaign that caught the Austrians completely by surprise. The French army rolled on the east to take Milan and then turned southwest and west to fight the Austrian army of Piacenza, Castiago, and Marengo in the final battle of the campaign. Bonaparte's fame was secured, and by 1804 he would be crowned the Emperor of France. Campaign Marengo covers the battles and campaigns in northern Italy as well, from 1795 to 1800, and allows the players to refight the famous battles of these campaigns. There are 3 campaigns that we went over. Really, the days is above us Russian army marching onto the field of battle alongside the Austrian allies. As the commander of the French army, lead your men on to victory in the fields of Castiglione, Rivioli, and Arcole, and other battles around Verona. As Messina lead the French to victory in Leon in 1795, Campaign Marengo offers all this and more. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff. And it's a very packed title, man. Really good title. Right, so that's there's some other good stuff as well. Like these here are very good. These are the situation maps that comes with the game. So this is the start. It starts with the initial advance toward Genoa. So this is actually what the Austrians thought that the French were after, but you know they did that sneak and they went up here, and that forced the Austrians to move. It was very hard to move forces in this region, so it was all about finding the best way to the field battle and confusing your opponent basically. And yeah, the Kingdom of Sardinia was up here, so that was like a different. But they were allies with the Austrians, and I think the commander of the Austrians, I mean, if they would have combined their armies, it would have been a lot more tough for Napoleon to fend them off. But Napoleon's aim was to split these two armies so he could fight them on equal terms, basically, and that's what he did. So this is the first initial advance. Then you have August, that was April and May, and then you have August 1796. Initial Austrian, so the Austrians went for a sort of a counterattack. They sent more troops down after the French had won the Battle of Lodi as well. And the Austrians retreated to Mantua and Verona over here, and then they tried to attack. Like this is depicted here. And that was kind of shaky for the French. Bonaparte retakes Brescia, supplies delivered to Mantua. Yeah, Mantua was under siege. And then Battle of Lonato and Castiglione, number 4. And then the French went on the offensive again. And Wurmster marches to Bassano with his French in pursuit. Yeah, so they were chasing each other all over the place here. The Austrians captured the bridge of Lugano by the Ruse. Okay, the French pursue in vain. The Austrians reach Mantua safety. Yeah. And then you have 1796 Part 1. Vaubois is driven south of Rivarolo by the Tyler Corps. Yeah, so they had to retreat. Alvinci defeats Messina and Bazzano, and the French retreat and then lose Caldiero. So the French were on the losing streak there. And then you have this. See, as you can see, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Yeah, so it goes on, man. But they have the situation map from 1799. The French lose to the Austrians at Magnano. and the survivors arise with the Russians. Now let's take Milan. So the Russians came into play, and they sort of had the upper hand. And the French were pushed down to Genoa, and Genoa was actually under siege as well. I think maybe it's not in here, but he had to surrender. What was his name of that famous French commander? But there was another French commander that was actually under siege. Let's open that last one up. Get this one here. Massena, yeah. So Massena was on, but he got surrendered on generous terms. So he got to take his French army back to France, and so he was never relieved by Napoleon, because Napoleon came up here and started smashing around in the behind. So forces went up, and this is Marengo. This is where the final showdown was, and the French won that battle. But the fun thing about this campaign, though, is it's a lot of luck involved with the French as well. I mean, it was, many people, it was probably Napoleon's charismatic and his do or die attitude that made the French actually pull this victory off, because they were mostly outnumbered, and they always lacked supplies and stuff as well, and they had pretty low morale, and they were like pillaging the landscape, and they were doing all kinds. It was a rabble army basically, but still, when it came to to the actual fighting, they fought like basically like lions, and they sort of held their own. But it's a very interesting campaign. The more you read about it, the more you sort of understand that it was less, it's pretty intense. So there's another good thing that comes with the game, because it can be confusing. Let me just show you. If you open up the game, there's a bunch of scenarios here, all the scenarios in the game, but there's this with exclamation mark M. And that means that they are the 15-minute versions, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they are all the 15-minute, as I said in the beginning of the video about that 15 and 10-minute. So they have 15-minute versions, and then they switch over to the 10-minute versions. So they also have the getting started in a 10-minute version. These are all 10-minute. It doesn't say here, but that's what the description means. So what to play, what would be the best, don't really know. I guess it's a preference. If you want to have the 10-minute or the 15-minute ones, as I said in the beginning, I'm not really sure what the big fuss is, but it's got to be something. It's got to be some reason for why they did that. But it's basically covering all the major famous battles that took place, all the way up to Marengo. So there's a huge amount of content, and the campaign sounded pretty intense as well. I mean, if you can open the campaign here, for instance. As you can see, so look at that. Okay, interesting. There's supposed to be 6 campaigns. Yeah, so they have, see here, there's a 15-minute, there's a 10-minute version. The Castiglione, 15-10 there, the Battle of Ravioli, Survivors Operations. So I would imagine these are actually scripted in some regard. I would hope. Or they're meant to be played, head to head. Might actually say in the notes. Could be. Let's see what it says about the campaigns. There are 6 campaigns. They cover the 3 major campaigns that were fought. 3 of the campaigns covered individual operations, relieve the Mantua garrison. Or was it at the this homepage? The homepage here. it says you could lead either the French or you could be in charge of the Russians. So I mean, I guess it's scripted now that they have improved the AI and stuff. So it'd be fun to try the campaigns out. You learn a lot. Yes, it's all here. They all have those as campaigns as well. So I mean, there's a lot of content in here. I think it says here somewhere. It's 127 scenarios covering all sizes of situations, including solo tutorial scenario, plus specialized versions of both head-to-head play and versus the computer. So there's a bunch of scenarios that actually are embedded in the campaigns that you actually can't play unless you play the campaign. So I mean, there's different scenarios and stuff that happens. So here are all the major battles, like many famous battles here. So it's very clearly stated now as well. It's head to head and it's solo. So the obviously the solo ones are the ones that are scripted, and the head to head is meant to be played by email or just hot seat. So lots of stuff, man. So the only thing is that about this 10 and 15 minutes, I'm not sure what the deal is there. Maybe it says in the manual. So the manual is pretty extensive these days. It's actually 108 pages, so it's not as badass as the campaign. I mean, for the past campaigns, it's huge nowadays, but 100 pages is pretty good. So maybe it says something about it in here, for instance. Turns. Yeah, so you got something about turns here. Each battle is conducted in turns, each of which typically represents 15 minutes of real time. Although this may vary by scenario and may be 10 minutes depending on the game in the series being played. Each player has a number of units under their control. Yeah, we know that. So here, but now they've actually divided it. So that, I mean, they have a bunch in just 15 and they have the same scenarios but in 10 minutes. So yeah, I wonder why they made such a big deal out of that. Don't know. Hope somebody's watching this knows and tells me in the comments. Please type so I'll know the reason for it. But the scenario, this is a pretty good manual. One thing that's really good here is the what the heck is it? Tactics. This it's really good if you're sort of new to the series and don't really know anything about Napoleonic warfare, the linear warfare. Just reading this will give you a really good idea of how to sort of conduct your attacks and in what formation your forces should be. So a very good. I found that out when playing the Republican bayonets on the Rhine, was that I thought that maybe it was a line. I mean, like the 7 Years' Wars and stuff, that you pull your men up in line for increased firepower, and you also sort of attack and in line formation, but you don't. In Napoleonic battles, you actually have to be in battle column when you engage into melee, and the line is purely for sort of firepower and shooting at the enemy, and then you form up in column and attack. So that's something to keep track of in these titles. That's how you fight. And cavalry is not as powerful as you might think. You should use your cavalry just very wisely. Send them in once the enemy is sort of weakened and disrupted and stuff. Preferably, do flanking or rear charges and stuff to maximize the casualties. Because cavalry is not as powerful as you would think it is. And this is also the age of when they formed squares. So and that's the infantry's safe haven for cavalries to form squares, because the cavalry can't charge. Well, they can charge into those squares, but it would be with devastating casualties. And of course, using your cannons smart. Usually you want to use them as close as possible to maximize damage and defend them. Don't leave your guns unguarded. So lots of good stuff in this little neat text here, but there's more. For instance, they have actually included the. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see if I can find it. What's it called? Is it bonus items? No, it's not bonus. These are the situation maps, not the change log. What the heck? Let's see. No, not that one. It was called. Where is it? Can't find it now. Okay, what the heck? Can't find it. I just had it in my. It said in the. Where is it? I got so many windows open now. It's getting all confusing. Yeah, they have it in. I just lost it. That sucks. Maybe it was in the changelog. Yeah. Added the intro series document. That's what I'm looking for. Where the hell is it? Okay, I have to go through this. I know it's like a quick file you can open. Abbreviation, activation, no. Armies, bonus, no. Marengo artwork, compendium, scenario lists. No, man, can't find it. Oh well, it's actually on the web page. They had a big article about it. Man, that just pisses me off that I just had it, yeah, so it was an old news article way back, and where they had a series on the page that took up in-depth strategy and analysis of how to play the games. It was such a good article, and they had it on the news, and you could sort of follow it. It was so good. I can't believe I can't find it. I mean, geez. Yeah, this one here, Introduction to the Video Napoleonic Battle Series, 5th installment. So they had the 4th installment and the 3rd, and it was like a huge, in-depth sort of series of articles. Really good to really, deep dive into the series. And it just really bums me out now that I just can't find the... there it is, jeez. Okay, man. Oh, blind as a bat. Yeah, here it is. So it's 107 pages, man. And it goes and it brings up all those installments that was on the webpage. And you now have them neat in this PDF files. And it's really, really deep diving. And you have comments and stuff. I mean, if you want to become like a pure expert on Napoleonic battles, this is definitely something if you have the stomach to read through it. 107 pages. It really, really is a grand piece of document to read. Right. So wow. Yeah. So that is the basic introduction to Campaign Marengo. Really, really excited to play this. Not really sure if I should do something early or late. I'm going to definitely try to find a scenario that is not too long, just so you can see the gameplay and graphics, and we're going to try out the AI and see how good it's become. So yeah, I'm not sure yet what to play. There are some. I mean, many of the scenarios are very long here. 24 turns is still a pretty hefty. This is on 16 turns. These are some early engagements. 16 is doable. 22, 18. This one, 10, sounds pretty good to do. Saint Michel. This is early on, 19th of April, 1796, 50 miles west of Genoa. So this is when they started to crawl up the coast. It would be, yeah. So this is somewhere around here, I guess. The campaign just starting off when they attacked. 10 turns. The engagement at Saint Michel. So this one sounds good. Maybe that one. It's supposed to be the French versus the AI. Lodi was a famous battle. I think that was the one where was that the one where they charged across the bridge or something? Maybe not. Might be confusing it, but 16 turns. So there are some good. There's some doable ones early there. 18, 28, Bazzano. 24, 76. Wow, some pretty big ones here. Rivoli. 58 turns, man. It's a big one. Yeah, so these are pretty huge. Like 90 turns, 44. These are still the 15-minute version ones, so I'm not really sure which to play. And here's the final battle of Marengo. So the first one is 6 turns only. Yeah. So I think the Austrians made like the first sort of charge attack versus the French lines, but it's failed. And then they formed up more forces and tried to attack from the flank. And I think Lanz came, and it was due to him that they didn't succeed. And then the battle rages on here, phase 4. The last one there. So, yeah, some really good, interesting battles to play here. I think I'm going to end it here. I think I've covered most stuff. As I said, I'm no expert on the history here. I'll do my best to try to, get the grasp of it. But they do have this as well. I was just going to cover this before I end. They have the campaign Marengo scenario campaign list. So it does tell you, it says here, the scenario list of campaign Marengo includes over 120 scenarios that are in the main folder. It does not list the campaign scenarios, many of which are good, standalone situations in their own right. The campaigns have their own listing. The players should note that the scenario file name, whether it's scenario A, we know this head-to-head, solo, meaning it's AI scripted. So it says in the game, so there were several head-to-head scenarios in the game which, because of their complexity, do not have solo counterpart. Others was simplified to allow for a more balanced situation when converted to solo settings. 3 design scenarios are included in scenario designers use, as well as those who would like to see all the uniforms of the soldiers of the time periods and stuff. So here's each scenario has a file name, scenario name, and amount of turns. Turns in there. Yeah, so head-to-head, number list, and name, action, the battle. The title, scenario list, and scenario hold. Battle parts, Napoleon, final victory. So number of turns, 24. Okay, so it tells you, these are the campaign Marengo scenario lists. And yeah, it's a lot. So like 100. There's some bonus scenarios here as well. They have included. So it does say that the campaign. It does say that the campaign have their own listing. Okay. What would that be? Leader list. Marengo OB. Order of battle. That must be order of battle. Let's see them. Yeah, look at this. So there are some stuff there as well. Kos Army? What's that? Army of the Kingdom of Sardinia. Okay, the Army of Sardinia has been fighting the French since 1792. The infantry was composed of national, foreign, and provincial regiments. Also were light battalions and grenadier battalions. The latter were composed of companies drawn from the infantry regiments. Cool. Intro nap battles. That's the one I have open. Yeah, this is this one here that I couldn't find. Artwork, bonus items. Yeah, I opened that, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, this is what comes into the bonus item that comes with the game here that we've been going over. All these. So lots of stuff, man. They have a lot of things in these titles. They're packed, man. So if you want to get your buck's worth, this is games for you, man. Yeah, so I can't find that but maybe there are in the folders or something. But yeah, wow. So we're gonna pick a battle hero. If there's anyone that you've seen now that you want me to try out, I'll have a look at it. Otherwise, I want to end it here, and it's going to be fun to cover this battle. So this will be your next stop after the Republican Bayonets of the Rhine. You will be going into Campaign Marengo, where Napoleon really made a name for himself. So I want to thank you for watching, man, and please type in the comments and stuff, like and subscribe, and I'll be back in part 2 of this, and we'll actually get into some gameplay. So I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you later.